And a company that struggled to deliver growth is Omnia. This comes as it reported a 16% decrease in revenue and a 6% fall in headline earnings per share. This was largely fueled by lower commodity prices. And joining me now to provide greater perspective on the year that was is Group CEO Seelan Gobalsamy. Thanks so much for joining us today, Seelan. Now, a challenging year characterized by tough macroeconomic conditions, but the group managed to maintain its strong cash position and even declare a special dividend. Seelan, talk to us about the disconnect we are seeing.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for having me this evening. I think the first important context to understand is that our business delivered a 16% downturn in revenue in the context of roughly a 50% downturn in commodity prices. So what it's showing is an extremely resilient performance in our group's revenue, and that flow down into our group's earnings during this difficult macro environment. That has resulted in us managing not only our earnings well, but also our working capital and cash position. And you see us being in a very, very strong cash position at the end of the year. So I think the context is a volatile and much lower commodity prices that's driven the revenue down.
Now let's talk about those commodity prices. Considering that they've been lower for quite some time now, we even see the mining commodity prices lower as well as the agri-commodity prices quite downbeat. Do you think that we are past the worst and that things will start normalizing?
Yeah, so, the commodities that impact our business is ammonia and urea. It impacts both our agri and our explosives business. And I think what we've been able to show in a very low commodity cycle, which we saw in 2019, 2020, 21, and then the massive increase, the volatility we saw thereafter, and then the decline in the latter years, and now, a lower cycle and a little bit of an incline. We show our business delivering extreme resilience from a profitability perspective. If you ask me, where do we forecast the prices and how do we think about that? That's a very difficult thing to do because macroeconomic conditions continuously change. With that comes volatility. What we've been focusing on is diversifying our business between agriculture and mining, and also diversifying our business between our local businesses and our global businesses. And all of that has stood us in good stead to navigate the storm of commodities.
Seelan, at the top, you talked about resilience and that mining unit really showing resilience at the moment, mainly boosted by, your international activity that's playing out on that front. What is giving Omnia an edge on that front? Is it those synergies we are seeing with the international companies you're partnering with?
Yes, so our mining business has had exceptional growth in the current period. That business shows profits just under R1 billion, which is an incredible performance. And that growth has been driven from a few factors. I think firstly, we saw growth in our mining chemicals business. We also saw growth in our third-party ammonia derivative sales locally. But then the investments we made in Canada, Indonesia, and in West Africa is also starting to bear fruit. We have seen profits in our Indonesian business ahead of our expectation, and our Canadian business has also turned to profitability. And what that does is that then drives a step change in the contribution of our mining earnings. So a very, very pleasing performance from our mining division, and it actually demonstrates the diversification that we have in our company between agriculture and mining.
I want to zoom in on the mining sector or the mining division even further. I read about a new, more environmentally friendly explosive the company is looking to get into. Let's just talk about that. Walk us through that.
Yes, thanks for that. So in the current period, we were looking for a greener alternative to ammonia-based explosives. And we found a business based in Sweden, Stockholm, that had an alternative and a commercially viable alternative to an ammonia-based explosives product. That business is called Hypex Bio. We invested circa 200 million in that business and bought a 10% stake. And what's more significant is we signed some exclusive distribution agreements with that business to partner that business alongside our explosives business, BME, and to take that business to our explosives customers across the world. So in the medium to long term, what you will see us do is we're currently building a plant in Sweden, which will be located eventually in Canada, close to our joint venture partner there. And we will trial and test those explosives on our sites. And we're seeing a huge demand for greener alternatives across both our agri and mining industry. But clearly this one, a great greener alternative to the traditional explosives that are used globally.
Now, Seelan, meanwhile, the chemicals division really being hard hit, double-digit declines in revenue as well as profits. Just walk us through the pressure points in that division.
Yeah, thanks. So I think our Protea business, it's a great asset. It's a 50-year-old brand. It makes a profound difference in South Africa and SADC from a cleaning, a water treatment, a base chemicals in manufacturing. And that business was fairly hard hit by the downturn in the manufacturing sector in South Africa. It also battled and grappled with the lower commodity prices, the port disruptions, the disruptions in logistics and supply chain. And you can see how the profits had a acute impact. Where we are with that business going forward, we've got a management team, a strong management team in place, and they're focusing on refocusing that business on key suppliers and key customers, and also adapting the infrastructure in that business to the new size of volumes and market conditions. Hopefully what that will do is in the near term, we will see that business return to a more acceptable level of profitability for the group.
Seelan, thanks so much for joining us today, and we will be catching up with you in the next 6 months to see how that strategy has kind of played out. That was CEO of Omnia, Seelan Gobalsamy.